Alright, y'all. I know I just did a kit review, and that's basically my warm weather kit. And I'm probably going to change the title of it to warm weather kit. But the last time I was out with the Captain Bart and the professor, I realized that what I had with me at that point, it's that point of the year where it's starting to turn from warm nights to cold nights, and got down into the 50s, I believe, and right now it's getting into the 40s at night. It's not even the end of September, and it's already getting cold. So I went ahead and transitioned over to my winter kit. This will take me down to about 20 degrees, 30 degrees, somewhere in that neighborhood. After that, I have to switch a few things out, but it's nothing serious. You can see the pack's different. This is my Spec Ops Recon ruck. I switched to this for my winter ruck because I can tie things to the frame. It's basically the same size, but like I said, it allows me to tie things to the frame. It does have MOLLE on the sides and on the top. Anyway, we'll go ahead and start with the stuff on the outside like I did last time. Water bottle on this Maxpedition Mini Roly Poly. This is my brand new clean canteen 40 ounce stainless steel bottle. I like to have stainless steel, especially in the winter. In the summer it doesn't matter quite so much, but in the winter I like to, right before I go to bed, heat this thing up in the fire and then throw it down in the foot of my sleeping bag, and that helps me keep warm in the night. So I got that with me. On the bottom down here you can see this camouflage pouch. That's not part of the pack, that's lashed onto the frame. And then this is, I guess, what you would call a sleeping carrier, but this holds my 20 degree goose down sleeping bag, and that'll keep me warm. When it gets in the 40s like this, I basically zip it up about that far, about a foot and a half, maybe 2 feet, to create like a foot box that I put my feet into, and then just kind of drape the rest over me. When it gets colder than that, I'll zip all the way up into it. But I also have, so that's in here. I'm not going to go ahead and pull that out because it's a pain in the butt to stuff it back in. Over here, I've got, this is my underquilt. It's a 0 degree underquilt. And you can change the level, it's rated at 0 degrees, but if you leave the baffles open at the end, you'll get just a little bit more air through there. So when it's 40, I won't completely seal this thing up. I'll just get too warm. Which I like having that available. If I want to cinch that up and stay really nice and cozy, I can. But that'll work anywhere from the 40s on down to 0 degrees. Then if I turn the pack around, you can see I've got my axe. This is a Scandinavian forest axe, and then my Northwest Woodsman bucksaw. And what this is, it goes between the pack and the frame here, comes behind the shoulder pad, and then comes behind where the pack mounts. There's a strap here, and then there's part of the frame. It comes kind of out and then back out, and those two things are just sitting on there, and they're held in there pretty much by friction and just setting. They're just setting on here. But with I've wore this thing as is, and the kidney pad, between the kidney pad, the shoulder straps, and this thing, my back doesn't even touch these. So that don't bother me at all, and it's a nice secure place to carry my stuff. It's not quickly accessible. If I take the pack off, I can get to my axe fairly easy if I just slide it out the bottom. But my saw's a little different. It takes a little more effort. Get the damn thing back in. But, people are always saying, well, why do you take such big equipment in the winter. I just do. Most of the stuff is bulk, but I like to have a heavier axe. You know, if we have snow, it sticks out farther out of the snow. It lets me cut bigger pieces of wood, things like that. So that's what I got on the outside. Then, and this thing weighs about 40 pounds as is. Maybe a little bit more. I haven't weighed it yet, but I'll go ahead and go over these outside pockets. On the right hand side, a bandana, always useful. My mug, coffee mug, a scratcher for cleaning pots and pans, that kind of thing, doing dishes, and my Trangia stove. I like this because, as I told you, I stick my bottle in the foot of my sleeping bag to keep me warm all night. Then first thing in the morning, I just have this thing ready. I just light it, pour my water into my pot with my coffee, and just, you know, I don't even have to get out of the hammock in the morning to have my coffee, so I really like that. It's not such a big deal in the summer, but in the winter it's nice and cold. You don't want to go out of bed any sooner than you got to. Middle pocket, my strike light kit, pair of mechanics gloves. I'll have one. I'll have heavier gloves with me. You know, as it gets colder and colder. My knife. This will change from time to time, but currently it's the Bark River, Fox River recurve, and I'm really liking this knife so far. I just got this one from Captain Bart, but the time I have played with it, I really like it. About 75 feet of paracord, a folding saw, and I'll probably get some questions why I'm carrying this and a big buck saw. You'll see why in a minute. My first aid kit has changed a little bit. I put it in a bigger pouch, and I also added, with the last trip out, I cut my shin with an axe. I don't know if you guys saw that one or not, but it didn't cut it real bad, but it bled quite a bit. And so Captain Bart put a blowout patch on it, or what he calls blowout patch. I'm not sure what they're really called, but so I added one of those to here because it works really well. It was big enough, and it was able to absorb blood, but yet you got two ties on it, so you can really crank the pressure down and help stop the bleeding that way. And then it's pretty much everything else in here is the same. I did add a pack of Quick Clot. Side pack, the left side pack, my axe stone for sharpening my axe, my headlight, and the professor said he made me a couple of these, but I decided to make one and see if I could do it. This is my tool roll with some Rogaine to tie it together with. But basically, this thing unrolls. It's got a flap on it to help hold everything in, and then it's got my axe file, a pen, or no, that's a Sharpie, my flashlight, pair of fingernail clippers, my crook knife, my carving knife, a pen for my journal, petroleum jelly coated cotton balls, a ferro rod, and a multi-tool. I've got whole nother slot I can add stuff I want. I don't need anything else in there right now. But that's to kind of keep all my small stuff together. Yours, my other pack, my Rush 24 had an admin panel. I could organize everything. This pack doesn't, so I just use that to organize everything. Also in here, a bush journal, medicinal herb, plants and herbs. I got this with me because I'm actually working on making a salve, a natural salve for cuts and wounds and skin irritations, things like that, and I need to look at the plants up to do that. Plantain, what's the other one? There's yarrow and jewelweed also go into that, and I'm going to look those up, make sure I got positive ID on everything before I use it. And also I got my compass with me, and this just wouldn't fit in my tool roll, so I just kind of threw it in there loosely. And that's it for the side pockets and the outside. So I'll go ahead and unclip and open up the main pouch. Right off the top, I know I'm going to get criticism for this, but you know, whatever. 10-inch cast iron skillet. It's heavy, yeah, but in the wintertime I do more cooking. You know, bannock, pancakes in the morning, bacon, all kinds of stuff, and I really like to have cast iron skillet. And in the winter, I'm probably going to do more cooking, so I'm carrying a bigger skillet. This one needs to be cleaned and re-seasoned before I use it, but because the person I got it from does not know how to take care of cast iron. Also, this kind of nests in that. It's got my Sea to Summit collapsible bowl, 3 packets of oatmeal, and a packet of ramen. That's just kind of my field edibles kit. Usually I take more than that, depending on where I'm, you know, what I'm going. In the winter I do eat a lot more than I do in the summer. In the summer I can go days without eating. I know people think that's ridiculous and whatever, but people have fasted for thousands of years, and that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm not doing it intentionally, I just don't have an appetite. My line bag for my tarp, you guys have seen this. My tarp, it's my DIY tarp. My hammock, this will change depending on the outing, but I got this in here as my base because chances are that's what I'm going to be taking with me. Well, this whole setup might change a little bit, but this is going to be the majority of the time I'm camping in my hammock. You know, sometimes, like you guys have seen in my past videos, I sleep in bush shelters, you know, bush beds with a canvas shelter half over me. Or I sleep in, that one time I did the super shelter video. This winter I'm planning on doing a fire bed where you dig the hole and you build the fire, and then right before you go to bed you cover it up and you lay on top of it. It's supposed to keep you warm all night. I want to try that and a few other shelters. If we get enough snow this winter, I'm also going to try to sleep in a quinzee. Anyway, that's what's going on there. I still have my arrow shaft with my my blow poker with my 4 skewers, because we still eat steak in the winter, and that's a great thing to have. This last outing, I don't know if I mentioned it in the video, but we went on a hike. We set up our base camp where we camped, and then the Captain Bart and the professor and I, we went on a hike, and Captain Bart had a roly-poly Maxpedition Roly-Poly Extreme, kind of a fold-out backpack, and that way he could carry all his goodies that he needed. And I didn't really have anything, and I ended up carrying a great big, about that big, 2 foot, maybe 3 foot piece of cedar, about that big around. I ended up carrying that under my arm. I had about a 4 foot piece of mullein stalk. I had a couple other branches of cedar that I wanted to turn into bow drill parts. I had a big bag of tinder that I had collected, natural tinder, and just, you know, I had no way of, you know, it was a pain to carry all this stuff because, you know, I didn't have any real way of carrying it. I was kind of fumbling with it. So I decided this is, when I first learned to sew with the professor and Mary Ann, this is what they helped. This is what I learned on. This is the first thing I made with their help, and it's just basically a small haversack. You got the basic, you know, pouch, and then you got the pouch in the lid too, that when you put some weight in it, it'll fold over. And then the strap is made to fit me. I'm sure it'll fit other people too, but I measured it so it would be comfortable for me. And then so I'm going to try some natural walnut dye and try to dye this thing brown, and I'm going to try to wax it. But this will carry, you know, I carry this thing with me. It packs up into nothing, and then that, if I can find it, you know, my knife, things like my knife or this little fold out saw because I'm not going to want to carry my buck saw. I take this little guy, I drop him down in there. Now if I want to collect any branches or anything like that for bow drill materials or whatever, it's right here. I don't have to go, carry it in my pocket or whatever. And then like when I was carrying them branches, I really wish I would have had extra cord with me, because I would have just tied them all together and kind of made a sling and kind of slung them over my back, kind of thing. So, my paracord would go in there, gloves, that kind of thing. But that's there to carry, natural tinder and whatever else I want to carry if we go on a day hike. Obviously I'm not going to want to carry my full backpack, so that's there. And then I got a new coffee pot for winter. Obviously I'm not going to carry this in the summer, it's just too stinking big. But this is just a little JanSport or TechSport or whatever, cheap aluminum coffee pot, percolator. It's got a little strainer there and nice hanger. And on the back it's got this little fold out handle where you can grab it to pour. It's graduated on the side. It's cost me all of $12. But it's got the whole percolator type thing in here. You put your coffee in there, get less grounds, and it's easier to clean up. And then inside of here, I'm not going to pull this out because it's a pain to put it back in, but I put my coffee bag and my sugar bag around the spindle that goes down to the bottom, and I squeezed it in there and I pushed this whole thing down so it's in there. I can pull it out if I want. You can kind of see the sugar bag sitting there. The coffee bag's on this side, but that's where I keep my coffee in that. And this is just a nice little coffee pot. It's cheap. It's aluminum. It's Chinese. I wish everything wasn't made in China, but the new American made is Chinese made. So anyway, that's my new coffee pot. I wouldn't carry something that big in the summer. It's just too big for the summer. I like to keep lighter stuff in the summer. But that's pretty much it for my pack. One other thing is this pack has a bladder pocket, or not really a bladder pocket, but more of a, it's about 6 inches deep back here, and then behind that there's another divider where you could put a bladder, I suppose, but it's got my blue foam kneeling pad that I showed you guys, and behind that is a black pad, single layer closed cell foam. That I suspect it's because if you carry this pack without the frame, you need some kind of padding, so that's what that's there for. But that's my winter, we're going to call it the winter bushcraft kit, or cold weather bushcraft kit. Things are a little bit different, mostly the sleep system, but a few things do get changed out. And then like I said, this will change. I won't necessarily carry my underquilt if I'm going to be going with a shelter half or whatever. So anyway, I'm really looking forward to winter. I hope we get a lot of snow and everything else. I know people hate it when I say that, but I really like going out in the woods when it's winter. It's challenging and it's more fun for me. But anyway, guys, let me know if you have any comments, questions, suggestions, whatever. And as always, guys, I really appreciate you guys watching. So thanks for watching.